Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. And well, if movie theaters weren't dead prior to this, their death may come a hell of a lot sooner than a lot of people expected. Even with the supposed rebound that they're experiencing thanks to Avatar: The Way of Water grossing over $2 billion, which I will admit I was wrong in my prediction on that movie, but that is a separate topic for another time, because we're going to be talking about AMC Theatres in this article here from The Hollywood Reporter. AMC Theatres unveils movie ticket prices based on seat locations. Pricing options for Hollywood movies in its theaters will be based on where patrons want to sit in an auditorium. So let's read this whole thing and then we'll discuss. AMC Theatres is adding sight lines to its cinema experience along with blockbuster movies. The mega exhibitor is following music concerts, sporting events, and other entertainment venues and setting its ticket price strategy to sight lines for seating selections. AMC patrons attending cinemas after 4 p.m. will be able to pay different prices based on their proximity to the movie screen within the auditorium. That, damn it, wrong pipe. That will put seats in value sightline, standard sightline, and preferred sightline sections. Standard sightline seats will be the most common in auditoriums and available for traditional costs of a movie ticket. Patrons will pay less for front row seats via value sightline tickets, and preferred sightline seats will typically be in the middle of the auditorium and cost slightly more than standard signature seats, AMC said. The mega exhibitor, which has already introduced sightline seating in select markets, is betting moviegoers will pay more for a better view of their favorite Hollywood titles, as do patrons of music and sporting events. Sightline at AMC more closely aligns AMC's seat pricing approach to that of many other entertainment venues, offering experience-based pricing and another way for moviegoers to find value at the movies. Elliot Hamlish, Executive VP and CMO of AMC Theatres, said in a statement. Sightline ticketing for its movies also gets AMC closer to event pricing typical of live event entertainment like concerts and sports, where consumers pay more or less for seats based on how close they want to be to the action or musical performance. But see, here's the difference between going to a concert or a football game and going to a movie. Okay, you go to a concert, that's a live event. They've already acknowledged that in the article. You go to a football game. Let's say you live in Denver and it's going to be the Broncos versus the Raiders, right? A huge rivalry. If you live in Denver, I don't know if that rivalry continues since they moved to Las Vegas, but that's neither here or there. But anyway, when I lived in Denver, and I lived in Denver for almost 20 years, the Broncos Raiders game was like the biggest game of the year, and if they were playing it at Invesco Field, my God, those tickets were like insane fucking prices. But still, the difference between going to a football game and a concert is that it's live entertainment, right? There are no second takes. You go to a movie, it's just the movie. That's it. I can go and I can watch the matinee showing on the day it comes out, and then I can go watch that same movie 3 weeks later at the 6 p.m. showing. It's the exact same fucking thing, no matter how often you go. That's the biggest freaking difference. Right? And I know why AMC Theatres is doing this, and that is simply because movie attendance is going down, and there's no denying that. But if you read this article from Insider, I believe it was formerly Business Insider that posted this, is that, you know, movie attendance has been on a dismal decline since the 1940s. So the movie theater attendance being on decline is really nothing new. Yeah, it saw an explosion in the 1930s, but then once you see like the advent of television, movie theater attendance just drops off a fucking cliff and stagnates by the mid 60s, according to the data from Business Insider. Right, so again, I don't think that that's the real issue, but you know, I think that the real issue comes from the fact of, you know, movie theater attendance, especially since the year 2000, has been on a continual decline. It's easy to say COVID. It's all COVID's fault. That's why movie theaters are dying. COVID. But again, if you look at the data, movie theater attendance has been on a steady decline since the year, compare from the year 2000 to 2019, it is a continual decline. It's not fair to take 2020 into account because 2020 is a statistical anomaly, but still, look at the data between 2000 and 2019. Yes, average box office revenue went up, but movie theater attendance went down. So how did So how did box office revenue go up while theater attendance went down? Well, simply put it, the cost of the average movie ticket price had increased, right? If we look at the data, I pulled all of this from NATO. That's the National Association of Theater Owners. And what I did is I compiled all the numbers and I decided, and I took an average movie ticket price per decade instead of looking at it year by year because it would be just too many numbers. So let's look at the average movie ticket prices per decade, starting in the 1980s, because that's when they really started taking the data. The average cost of a movie ticket over the 1980s was only $3.42. Right now, again, some years it was higher, some years it was lower. It's an average, right? Then we jump forward to the 90s, and the average cost of a movie ticket did jump to $4.39. That was in the 1990s. Then we look at the 2000s. The average cost of a movie ticket was $6.36. Right? I remember when I was paying, $4.50 to go to matinee showings, and this was back in like 2008, 2009 still, and this wasn't that long ago, right? And then now average movie ticket price in the 2010s jumped once again to $8.44. And if you look at articles, there was an article published by IndieWire that said that the average cost of a movie ticket has now jumped closer to like $11 now. So yeah, you see theater attendance is going down, but box office revenue keeps going up solely because they keep jacking up the ticket prices. That's all this is. They want their revenues to go back up again. And if we look here from this New York Times article, this was written back in November of 2021. Movie theaters must urgently rethink the experience, a study says. About 49% of pre-pandemic moviegoers are no longer buying tickets. Some of them, roughly 8%, have likely been lost forever. To win back the rest, multiplex owners must urgently rethink pricing and consumer perks in addition to focusing on COVID safety. Those were some of the takeaways from a new study on the state of American movie theater business, which was troubled before the pandemic. At least they acknowledge it was troubled before the pandemic. Attendance declining, streaming services proliferating, and has struggled to rebound from COVID-forced closings in 2020. Over the weekend, ticket sales in the United States and Canada stood at roughly $96 million. Again, this was November of 2021, compared to $181 million over the same period in 2019. The study published online on Monday was self-commissioned by The Quorum, a film research company led by David Herron, the former head of research for United Talent Agency, Coltique, a consultancy run by the longtime brand strategist Linda Ong, and Fanthropology, which describes itself as a research strategy and creative agency. They intend to run the survey once a quarter. Quote, the research clearly shows that theaters are suffering because the pandemic intensified, accelerated, and amplified all of the nascent trends that were already underway, Ms. Ong said. That is the definition of a perfect storm. Not that various problems exist at the same time, but that they have an intensifying effect on each other. The nascent trends. Rising ticket and concession prices. No shit. Decreasing experiential value, quote-unquote experiential value, including the perception that moviegoing has become a hassle. The rundown state of shopping malls, which house many theaters. A generational shift towards streaming, gaming, and other smartphone-based entertainment. Quote, before, maybe you went every now and again overlooking the drawbacks, Mr. Herron said. Now you add safety concerns to that mix, and you suddenly become a former film goer, right? I mean, this is the big thing right here. Probably why a lot of people are not going back to theaters is that, it's the decreased quote unquote experiential value, including the perception that moviegoing has become a hassle. How many motherfuckers whip out, their fucking iPhones and talk during the whole freaking movie, right? Remember The Simpsons and steal this episode when Homer goes on his rant about how you go to the movie theaters and now there are more ads than ever before. That guy brought a baby to a 9 o'clock movie. That guy's on his cell phone kind of thing. Why would you even bother? Especially, if you're going to pay, $15-20 to go see a movie, God forbid you have a wife and a couple of kids. My God, why wouldn't you just wait for home video at that point? And even Gallup agrees from a Gallup poll here. that was published in January 7th of 2022. And the highlights are, U.S. adults saw an average of 1.4 movies in the theater in the past 12 months. Again, this was obviously data taken over 2021. 61% of Americans have not attended a movie in a theater in the past year. Young adults, those in cities and suburbs, saw more movies than their counterparts. And if we scroll down to the bottom line, right? Even Gallup agrees. Before the COVID-19 pandemic hit the U.S., the movie industry was dealing with lower demand for in-theater viewing brought on by more at-home options. And then the pandemic dealt a sharp blow to the industry, both in production and ticket sales. While the 3 in 5 Americans who did not go to a movie in the past 12 months is likely inflated because of the pandemic, the industry is grappling with the fact that the habits Americans have fallen into at home may be a barrier to getting them back into theaters when the pandemic ends. Additionally, movie theaters may have fewer offerings for their customers, given ongoing staffing challenges and the slowdown in movie production. But again, we go back to rising ticket prices. Why am I going to spend, $15, $20 going to see a rom-com starring Kaylee Cuoco and Pete Davidson when I could probably just wait for that to come out on streaming? And what was the name? What was the name of that movie? It was like Meet Cute or something like that. I'm gonna verify that real quick. I know you guys can't see my computer screen, but I know it came out recently on Peacock. It was a stupid rom-com. I didn't waste my time to go see it. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, Meet Cute. Yeah, that's what the movie was. It was Meet Cute with Kelly Cuoco and Pete Davidson, right? Peacock came out and admitted that was a huge hit on their streaming service, but more than likely, had it released to theaters, it probably would have bombed. Now, circling back to AMC Theatres, I think that they have a real ulterior motive here, right? Is they don't actually want to charge you based on seat locations. Now, hear me out, right? AMC Theatres does not want to charge you based on seat locations. You know what AMC really wants to do with this strategy? They want you to sign up for their A-list subscription service, right? Their version of MoviePass for the $20 to $24 a month, right? Because I think if and they might come out with this that, hey, if you have AMC A-list, you can get any seat you want at no additional cost, right? So they're charging non-subscribers these fake prices for average movie tickets. So let's go back to so they have three sight lines, right? You have value sight line, standard sight line, and preferred sight line, right? So let's say standard sight line that's the $11 movie ticket, right? Let's say that's it. Let's say value sight line is a $9 movie ticket. But if you want to sit in preferred sight line, well, you're paying, $15, $16, $17, $18 depending on the showtime. However, if you have AMC A-list, you're not going to be charged an extra fee if you want to sit in preferred sight line, and you're only paying anywhere from $20 to $25 a month, again, depending on the state that you live in. I think that this is their real ulterior motive. It's basically to price everyone into using their subscription service, right? I firmly believe that's all that they're doing this for. And this is why I'm calling it a stupid fucking business move. Because again, movie theater attendance is already on a decline. There is no disputing that. So instead of trying to win people back over by, I don't know, maybe lowering the ticket prices, no. What they would rather do is they would rather squeeze the people that are left going, and then once those people finally say, you know what, enough's enough, I'm just going to wait for it to come to Netflix, Redbox, Hulu, wherever you decide to get your movie rentals, Vudu, doesn't fucking matter, right? Right? They squeeze the people that are still there until they say enough's enough. I'm just gonna wait till it comes out onto Vudu or Redbox or Netflix and watch the movie then. And now what do AMC Theatres do? In my opinion, they have completely shot themselves in the foot with this, you know, with this strategy. And don't pretend that they don't have that ulterior motive of, well, you know, if you sign up for a $20 a month subscription service, you don't have to pay any of the surcharges, and you get to go to at least 3 movies a week. And guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this right here before I drag this out way longer than it needs to be, because I know we've gone over 15 minutes, but I think I've made my points very clear. Let me know what you guys think. Would you even go back to AMC Theaters if they were going to be charging you based on where you decided to sit in the theater, or are you just going to wait for that movie to come out to Netflix, Vudu, Redbox, or wherever you get your movies from? Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this right here. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos, so I'll just see you guys next time.